Okay. All right, y'all, good afternoon. I'm so happy to see everybody tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'd like to call this meeting to order. 7:06. And now we're gonna have roll call from Mama. Cameron. Daniel. Nevaeh. Jalen. Abram. Faye. Hillary. Okay. All right. I'm sorry for the. Come on, this? Okay. Sorry for the music over there, y'all. We can't really do anything about it. So can I please get up? Oh, never mind. There's no minute. Sorry, there's no minute for this meeting. Can I get approved of the agenda? It was sent out by Mama. Yes. Do I have any seconds? Okay, thank you. All right, now student forum. Any students present and wishing to speak may speak at this time. SJ members may respond, but can only bring up new topics during student forum. So any students here that like to speak? Yes, Alexis. Do you need a mic? Okay, yeah, it's loud in here. Sorry, go over there. I just want to kind of like bring their distance to the floor, because it's primarily graduate students that are running that group. They said they want to let them work with IT voices because UCB is mostly targeted at undergraduate students. And most of the changes are going to affect us. I know I'm still personally, there's going to be some languages meetings, those major will still be here. So yeah, I just wanted to like bring that up and also maybe ask, if, I guess how y'all are talking about our new plan, because, I don't know if maybe y'all lost advisors too, but they were trying to put in graduation, and I'm like, you know, that's, clearly they need more support and everything. So, okay, we had, some of the speakers, some of the graduate students, right, come in, and they actually did speak to us about the budget cuts. And they had a Zoom session, I think, that was open to all students at UNCG. I didn't get to attend it because I was busy during that time, but they did like come and present presentations and statistics and stuff like that. We are aware of it, and hopefully that's something that we can like start tackling soon. And if you would like to like send anything out to like us, you can just email me, of course. And yeah, if you have anything to say.
Yeah, I'll just say that, you know, the budget cuts has been like a topic since last year through the new funding model that's been passed through the Board of Governors. I would just say that we're trying our best to advocate, as you would know, at the ASU level and the higher levels, because you know the money is coming from Raleigh and the legislators as such. We're actually going down there on March 29th for our ASU Day of Advocacy to speak with some representatives. We'll try our best there to advocate for more funding. I mean, even SGA has been taking budget cuts, so we're trying our best. Admin's been having a lot. You gotta understand, they're also having to work with a budget as well. So it's not an easy fix for anyone, but we're trying to keep it. I know I had BOT last week, so I was gonna make some remarks, and just budget cuts are the topic right now, but we would just really encourage those students, the group, to come into here and actually talk to us. We've had other student groups come talk to us in the SGA office outside of Senate, so we'd be welcome to them. Just have them reach out to myself, Mar, or LaShawna. That's hopefully that answers your question.
You might want to mention the chat with the chancellor.
Yeah. That's another, also I was gonna mention my reports later, that we have chancellor chat. That's an open conversation between students and the chancellor. It's gonna be outside the esports arena from 12 to 1, so that would also be a good interesting topic to bring up there. I'll be there as well, so.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I'll have information. I guess, we, SBA and that group could help, be kind of the middle ground for the students, because I think it's vaguely sort of know what's going on, but unless they're kind of like directly seeing changes, they're not really sure what's happening, so just like, it sounds like we're always doing a lot of work, and just be like letting the students know, hey, we're gonna do it. There's a lot of changes are gonna happen, and there are people in places for students to come and like talk about their concerns. Okay, great.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you so much for coming. You can be.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't do it, man. Okay. All right. All right, old business, there is none. New business. Okay, so now we're gonna have PD come up and talk about the new comfort dog Odin. Do you need the mic or you can?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Officer Lynch. You can call me Zach. I'm going to get on with Melody. Zach, this is Odin. He's a part of the comfort dog. He does a lot of phenomenal things. What we plan on doing with him is respond to our crisis calls, our welfare checks, and some medical calls. We really wanted to get integrated into campus because we want to build a bridge between the PD and students. It's something that I'm very passionate about. And I know that maybe in the past few years, maybe there has been some lack in that area, but I can tell you that I am going to try my best every day, all day, to make sure that we can connect. Another part of my job is if you guys students have concern about the police department or something that's happened, you're more than welcome to email me or see me in person and bring you concern to me. And I have a meeting once a week with all of the community staff and administration to work to know what I hear and what I experience in our community. A little about me, just to let you know, is I've been here for 6 years now. I have a life-saving award underneath my belt. I caught an escape inmate on campus. I caught a runway drunk driver that made the news. So I'm really passionate about police work and connecting that with the community. Just a little bit about the life-saving award. You know, man, you got struck by a train, and they couldn't find him when he called 911. So I actually went up the street about 100 yards and heard him screaming, and that's when I was able to get him on the tracks and get him a tourniquet on his leg, which was bleeding profusely, and that saved his life. So I'm very passionate about community and policing. I know that term community policing is been used so many times, and maybe there's no meaning behind it, but I want to put some meaning behind it. And I do know what it's like struggling going to college in 10 years to graduate. So if I can do it, anyone can do it, and I can help you along that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Zach and Odin, for coming. Odin is literally all over campus, y'all, and He's so happy to see us, so definitely interact with both of them as much as you can. All right, now we'll have a speaker, Sean, I want to pronounce your last name right. What is his last name? Macinus, okay, and he's a sustainability specialist that Ren invited. Yeah, we have an email to,
Yeah, that's fine, I didn't want to mess up your.
no, you're okay.
How are y'all doing tonight? Good. Yeah, Ren's not actually even here. But I know Amber and I know Brittany, so it's good to see some familiar faces. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Sean McInnes. I'm the University Sustainability Specialist. So I'm tasked with working with stakeholders like SGA, GSA, Sustainability Council, facilities, dining, you name it, on reducing our carbon footprint and just kind of making campus a little more environmentally friendly, and kind of connecting everybody to resources available on campus. So I see some of you already have your phones out, so you can go ahead and keep them out. No, that's all right. Go ahead and keep them out and open up the UNCG mobile app if you've got it. So I'm sure you all have the mobile app. No, I'm really encouraging you to get your phone out because I want to connect you to some resources right now. I mean, show of hands, how many people knew there were sustainability resources on the mobile app? You guys use the mobile app? Sorry. All right, well, go to the homepage, make sure you're in the student's profile. And I don't have it on the computer, but just scroll down until you see the recycling symbol. Yeah, I know where it is. Has you don't have to show me. Yeah. So go ahead and open it up. You'll see a little recycling symbol, and this is kind of going to be your one-stop shop for all things sustainability on campus. And I'm going to show you, basically it's going to connect you to resources on our website. So the first thing you'll notice is at the very top, our connections to our social media accounts. So we're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I encourage you to follow us. We have a lot of student following on Instagram. That's right at the top. There's also an email up there if you have any questions to email me about. Then if you click on the recycling tab, it will open up a number of resources, including our recycling guide. So if you click on the image, it will bring you to the website, which we're looking at right now. And it talks about our waste reduction efforts. And if you click on the recycling tab, you can come down here and read about recycling. There's our recycling guide. Does anybody have any questions about recycling? What can and can't be recycled on campus? You want to do a quick, how much time do I have? I know Ren didn't really tell me. 15 minutes, okay. Let's just look around the room. I'm trying to see. Do you have a question? Yeah, there's it's called a material receiving facility, and there's only one in Guilford County. And so all the material, even from if you live off campus and you have a house and you have curbside recycling, that all goes to that location. It's all commingled, and then it gets they're all commodities. So aluminum, cardboard, paper, they're all commodities, and they get sold to various companies. Hey, Ren, your Tupperware is right there. That's Ren cooked dinner. She for me because she's awesome. So she's a great cook. A little too much information for Ren there, I'm sure. But so like your plastic bottles actually get recycled here in Greensboro. There's a company called Unify, and they make fiber out of recycled plastic. So they're not actually making shirts, but they make the fiber and they sell it to companies like Patagonia, North Face, anybody who uses like recycled plastic in their garments. In fact, if you go to the UNCG bookstore, you can find a couple of materials, a couple of shirts made out of their material here on campus. So I'll ask you a couple questions. Can you recycle a Starbucks paper cup? Show of hands for yes.
Can you recycle a paper cup? Yeah, like a card, like a paper cup. Can you recycle a paper cup? Show of hands for yes. That's a negative. You cannot recycle a paper cup. It's got a wax paper lining in it. Okay. Yeah. Can you, but you can recycle the lid and you can recycle the little cardboard, hand warmer thing. Can you recycle a milk, like a paper milk carton? Show of hands for yes. Like a paper milk, like a, no, you cannot recycle a paper milk carton. It also has a wax lining in it. Can you recycle a plastic bag? Show of hands, say yes. Show of hands, say no. You can recycle a plastic bag. However, it cannot go into the commingled stream in your dorm. There are certain drop-off locations on campus, and they're listed on the, you can see drop-off locations right there. You could be looking at the thing and answering these questions. I don't know if you noticed. Okay. So we recycle ink cartridges, batteries. Nobody has floppy disks or anymore, but we do collect those if you're getting rid of old stuff. And paper and plastic bags can all be recycled at little drop-off locations in those areas. We removed the one from the EUC because it was getting contaminated. But in general, you can recycle plastics as long as they have a 1, 2, or 5. You got a question? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have means of sorting it out at the materials receiving facility, but in general, if there's way too much material, it'll just go to, they'll just send it to the landfill. So it's really important that that we make sure we're recycling properly and following all the protocols. Otherwise, it's too contaminated and it's not worth their, it's all about money. It's all about, can they resell the materials? How much time does it take them to sort the materials? And if it gets too cost prohibitive for them to sort through everything, they're just going to send it to the landfill. Okay. But yeah, make sure you follow the recycling guidelines. There's another, if you go back into the mobile app, there's another great resource if you live off campus, and it's really good for on campus as well. It's pretty accurate. It's called the Waste Wizard. And this is run by the city of Greensboro. And you can actually type in things like a milk carton, and it will tell you if it can or cannot be recycled. And it'll say, put this item in your trash container. Okay, this is mostly for residential recycling in Greensboro, but it's going to be about 95% accurate for what we recycle on campus. Can you recycle a glass bottle or like a glass spaghetti jar? Yes, you can recycle glass. You can recycle all colors of glass, green, brown, all your beer bottles, your whiskey bottles, whatever you want to recycle, you can do that. Yeah. You can recycle a pizza box. As long as there's no food in it. So if there's like cheese in it or the grease is fine. What I tell people is to remove the little corrugated cardboard circle that's usually inside the box that the pizza sits on. Get rid of that. That's going to have like all the pizza juices and stuff. But the box itself you can recycle. A little cardboard, a little grease is totally fine. There's always a lot of questions about recycling. But I want to talk to you about some other resources, but make sure you look in the mobile app, use the Waste Wizard. The only thing that the Waste Wizard will tell you is, it'll tell you like solo cups are not recyclable, but they're, as long as they have a 1, 2, or 5, they're recyclable on campus. The city makes some decisions to help avoid waste and contamination. And so they'll tell you not to put those cups in there. Because what happens is people just throw it in with the liquid in it, and then that makes all the paper, all the cardboard wet. And so they just tell people not to recycle them in order to reduce damaging the material. But as long as you empty it out and it's dry, you can recycle it on campus, okay? Let's go back to the mobile app. There are, I made a fun little Spotify playlist of environmentally themed songs that I think y'all will dig, so you can check that out. That's down at the bottom, there's a little Spotify logo. You can find student groups on campus. We have a community garden on campus. We have a club called the Food Recovery Network. They take leftovers from the dining center and donate them to a shelter in Greensboro. They're saving hundreds of pounds of food a week from the dining center and feeding people in need. So they're keeping us from sending that food to the landfill and helping people in need. So that's a great initiative. We have resources for getting around by transit, which I'm sure you're familiar with, but sustainable housing. I also have a newsletter that I would encourage you guys to sign up for. I don't spam you. If we have events, like Ren and I have been working on events for Earth Day celebrations coming up in April that I'm thankful for y'all for helping sponsor some of that. We'll be posting of that about in our newsletter. We also have a solar array on the nursing building. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but you can see exactly how much energy the solar array is generating on top of the nursing building by following that link. And then the other thing I want to talk to you about is the Green Fund. We're kind of running out of time for the Green Fund. There's only one more deadline available on campus. And that's April 1st. And I know Amber's working on a proposal for that. The Green Fund was actually started by the UNC Green Club, and SGA passed a resolution supporting the Green Fund. So you guys are responsible for this about 7 years ago. You've designated a portion of your student activity fees to go to the Green Fund. So you don't ever see anything on your bill that says the Green Fund. It's just you pay about, on average, depending on the number of students enrolled on campus, between $2 to $3 of your student activity fees go to the Green Fund. And we get about $58,000 a year to do sustainability related projects. And that's thanks to you guys. And we funded over 70 projects so far over the lifetime of the Green Fund. If you go to the website, you can see some videos of projects, and then there's a whole list of projects that explain what they were for. On average, we're awarding about 11 grants a year, and the average grant is for about $5,000. We can award projects for up to 4 years. So, and the other great thing is that we can use this money to pay student labor. So there's like a pollinator garden on campus that's being managed by students in the biology department, and they're getting paid, an hourly. We pay a livable wage. So we pay $15 an hour for undergrads, $20 an hour for graduate students to do, environmentally friendly labor on campus. Are you familiar with the bird window collision study that's been happening? So there's an Audubon club on campus as well. That was created by a mix of grad and undergraduate students. And I think I might have a news story here on the page. Yeah, so if you just go to the sustainability homepage, you can read about this. So they have been, there's kind of going in circles a little bit, but Megan D'Amico is a PhD student in biology, and her and another student, Melanie Stadler, and Carrie Rosado, I can't remember Carrie's last name, have been, got a grant from the Green Fund to pay themselves to do a research study on campus. And so they use an app called iNaturalist, which you can also find on the mobile app. It is it's like a scientist-based app that you can use to identify plants and animals. And then, so what they're doing is they're going around on a daily basis on campus. They've trained other students, and they're looking for dead birds that have hit the glass windows on campus. And they've identified, they've been working on this for about 10 months, and they've identified close to 70 birds, I think 60 or 70 birds that have died by striking windows on campus. The majority of them are actually happening at the Sullivan Science Building. And we're currently working with facilities design and construction to implement decals that will go on the windows to divert the birds. So they're very tiny decals. The birds see reflections, they see trees, they think that they can fly through them, and that's how they get impacted. And these little dots are like UV reflectors, and so it's reflecting light in the birds' visual, they see differently than we do. And so it's helping it'll help keep birds from flying. And it's going to be a kind of a longitudinal study. They're hoping to apply for a Green Fund grant again in April, continue to study it and see if the mitigation practices actually did make an impact on the Sullivan Science Center. And then they've also, working with facilities design and construction. That, if you don't know what that is, that's our team of architects and campus designers. So any construction projects that happen on campus go through. We have like a dozen architects that just work for the university. So the library is under, is going to be under reconstruction in approximately 4 years, and we're going through design planning for that right now. And we're going to include window strike mitigation in that building as well. So these are real life impacts that that students are making on campus and in the community by getting funding for the Green Fund. The Food Recovery Network has gotten money for supplies. We've funded a project with the Industries of the Blind, which is they hire visually impaired employees to make fabrics and all kinds of materials just over here in Gate City. And we funded a project with the College of Visual and Performing Arts. Students are going in and interviewing employees at the IOB, and they're making 3-dimensional sculptures out of those stories. And there are huge banners as well that are representative of those stories. So it's, and then there are audio recordings of the interviews as well. So it's multi-sensory because, you put a banner up. If you're visually impaired, you can't see, you can't see the banner, but you can go up and feel sculptural relief on the side of the building. So the Green Fund isn't just about environmentally things. We also consider, social equity and environmental justice and EDI to be an important part of, there's a lot of environmental injustice happening to, BIPOC populations and low-income communities, stuff like that. And we've funded water studies in some communities to figure out, what's going on with lead in water and stuff like that. So I'm going to end there. We do have a bunch of stuff that's coming up in April. So please, be sure to follow us on Instagram and on the newsletter so that what's happening. We'd love to see you out there. We're going to have a big Earth Day fair, April 22nd. Out at Piney Lake. We're going to have a food truck, ice cream truck. There's going to be a big eco bus from Greensboro. But I'll open it up to just like 5 minutes with questions. If you can ask me, AMA right now, ask me anything you want about sustainability on campus. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. We do compost in Fountain View. So that's pre and post consumer compost that's happening upstairs in the dining hall. They're composting probably about, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like 1,600 tons a year of food waste that we're diverting from the landfill. So that's happening. It's not likely to happen in the dorms. We did do, there was a Green Fund project that we paid students some labor and did a pilot study to see if we could implement it in the dorms. And they got, there were a lot of complaints about smells and gnats, and it just didn't work out properly. It's a lot of time and labor to manage that. Composting is actually more expensive than both sending material to the landfill and to recycle it. We pay per ton for the amount of waste that we send to the landfill or to the MRF, and we pay per ton for the compost as well. And there's really only one farm in town that so they've kind of got a monopoly on composting. For the EUC, we don't compost here. You're talking about roadblocks, and that's because we don't have a full service kitchen in the EUC. So you'll notice there's a lot of single-use items in the EUC, single-use cups, straws, go bags. And that's really because we don't have like a dishwasher in the back room in the UC. So if we ever renovate the UC, that's something we need to make a priority of. Because it's a huge operation upstairs, actually, at Fountain View. There's a giant grinder that, crushes up all the food, and then it goes down and shoot into the loading dock in the back end of things. So, I think that's probably, I get asked about trees, recycling, and composting. So I know it's a big deal and it's important, but we didn't design our buildings for composting. If you live in some of the taller high rises, you have chutes, and some of the, there's one for trash and there's one for recycling, but there's not one for composting. And so how do we manage that? It's just things that people didn't think about in the past when we were designing buildings. Yeah, so not the greatest, and we could do more, but we're also about to cut $8 million from the university's budget. So yeah, I thought I saw another hand up. Yeah.
We're just putting carbon into the environment.
Yeah, so we have three major contributors to our carbon footprint. Last year we sent about 67,000 tons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. That's less than like Chapel Hill, less than Duke's, but it's more than some of the smaller universities for sure. So the number one is the electricity generation that we purchased from Duke. That's about 35% of our carbon footprint. We're lucky that 50% of North Carolina's energy is generated by nuclear power, so that's a carbon-free resource. We're actually also the third largest producer of solar power in the country, but that's only about renewables are only about 3% of our entire grid. So we don't really have a very carbon-intensive utility grid. It's about 45% is coal and natural gas. The other things that the second largest contributor is natural gas. So we use natural gas, which is methane, to heat our water, to burn. I'm trying to think what else we use natural gas for. That's the major contributor is heating things on campus. Some of our stoves in the kitchen probably have natural gas, things like that. So that's another about 30%. And then commuters is the third largest contributor. So that's about 18% is just the emissions from our vehicles. And we're actually, I didn't want to really get into this because it's really complicated, but I'm starting a carbon offsetting program. We're going to be asking students, I know you don't have a lot of money, but students, employees, and alumni to contribute $15 a year to help offset our carbon emissions. And we're going to reinvest that into energy efficiency saving projects. And 10% of what we raise is going to go to the Community Housing Solutions, which is a nonprofit organization that does weatherization for low-income homeowners in Guilford County. So we're going to, and a lot of those are, people of color, families with BIPOC populations as well. And so again, we're addressing environmental injustice and equity and diversity inclusion through that. So the biggest impact that we've reduced our carbon footprint by 14% since 2009. The largest achievement was during the pandemic, we had gotten as low as a 25% reduction, but that was when we weren't traveling for work and we were all working and studying from home. So those emissions dropped drastically, and now we're kind of rebounding just like the rest of the world, and we're back up to about 14%. But we can make the biggest impact by reducing or improving our energy efficiency on campus. And facilities does a great job. They're responsible for about 70% of our greenhouse gas reductions just through the energy efficiency projects on campus. We've got 20 LEED certified buildings on campus. That's the United States Green Building Council. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So these are incredibly high efficient buildings on campus, and they equate to about 25% of our total gross square footage. One last question, if anybody has one.
Okay,
Okay.
just kind of going on what Sean was saying. If you had one advice, other than make sure we're recycling the right things, what can students do on campus to help, our sustainability efforts?
Yeah, we have if you live on campus, we have a green room certification program, and it just gives you a list, it's on the mobile app, and it gives you a list of different actions that you can take to help reduce your carbon footprint on campus. So really, our daily actions add up. I know there's a lot of news out there, like an apathy, like, does it really make a difference if I turn off my lights when I leave my room? Does it really make a difference if I take a quicker shower and use less hot water? Yes, it does, absolutely. There are 5,000 students who live on campus. We have a population of 20,000. And if you turn off the lights, that's saving energy. If you just use a little less hot water, that's saving energy. That's all reducing our carbon footprint. So, just be conscientious and be mindful of your actions. Do what you can. Don't beat yourself up if doing a little is doing enough. Okay. Build habits, just put your canvas bag in your car so that you've always got it when you're going grocery shopping. Unplug your chargers from the wall. There's a thing called Vampire Energy. If you leave chargers in and you're not actually charging your phone, that is still drawing energy from the outlet. Plug your TVs and your stereos and your electronic equipment into a surge protector and turn it off when you leave. The majority of your appliances are actually going to be using the majority of the energy that your appliances use are actually when they're not being used. So, your microwave is on 24/7 and it's got a clock. Your TV's on, but you're not using it when, you're in class 5 hours a day and your TV may be on. Some of you have roommates, so, you may not, that may be a bone of contention, turning the TV off when you leave. But if you just live on your own, unplug it or turn off the surge protector. These things do make a difference, and I think you just need to build those little habits. And once you've kind of gotten the ball rolling, you'll actually learn that you can do more and more. So, like I said, my email is on the mobile app. Just if you've got any questions or you've got any ideas, please reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. Yep.
What would be a nice way of the one who's like in the bathroom and the whole time they're like letting the whole like the water is running. And you do there like 5 minutes, water is running.
Yeah, is this a stranger or is this somebody you know? Maybe put up a sign instead of like.
Because sometimes I want to, it's like hard to see like the water running and.
I would put up a sign because then you're going to reach everybody who uses the bathroom. Like help us conserve water by turning the water off when you're not brushing your teeth.
The whole water was ready, so I just turn it off.
Yeah, well, good for you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, so one of the. How many of you were able, had recycling in your at your like high school? Show of hands. How many of you? How many of you had a recycling program in your high school? Less than half the room. So this is why I try to never to blame people for their actions. Half of you didn't even have an opportunity to practice recycling when you were younger. And if you don't have that opportunity, you're not going to know that a pizza box can't be recycled or that a paper cup can't be recycled. You have to build these habits. So, I try to meet people where they are. I would advise to avoid conflict if it's a stranger, if it's a friend, I think it's an easier conversation, but I think putting up a sign is going to have a bigger impact than just trying to talk to that one person. And then you'll see other people going, and she'll see people leading by example, and maybe, there is such a thing as positive peer pressure as well. I think we think of peer pressure as like making people do things that they don't want to do, but if we lead by example, I think that also changes behavior. Yeah. Okay, I've used up enough of your time. I know you got lots of different things on the agenda. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And I hope you'll use these resources and I hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. No,
Battery, I'm gonna fix it.